Hapana kucheza na mtu kuna neema. Hapana kucheza.
Every generation has a group that comes up and they become the breakers of generational curses. And I feel like we are at that point in time. Dr. Miles Monroe, talked about this being a time of convergence. And it's actually the time of convergence for so many things. For example, when you read, for instance, guidances from religious institutions, like, for example, Baha'is have the Universal House of Justice. And one of the things that they have kept on telling us is that it's actually a ripe time for spiritual forces to be unleashed on this planet. And we are realizing that because at every juncture in every generation, there's that moment when humanity comes to a point where they realize that some of the things that they've been doing are just messed up. And the Gen Zs are the current people who have neema. Neema in Swahili means grace. And the Gen Zs have grace on almost all levels. The first level that they have grace in is that they have the grace of God, because they are the first generation to be truly, truly spiritual and not just religious. They're the kind of children they are the generation that is questioning the current status quo when it comes to our religiosity. These children are not just blindly believing things. They want to know the basics behind what you're asking them to believe in. They are the first generation to question the clergy. The clergy have been very comfortable in their existence, knowing that they are just there. They are powerful, all-knowing, all-wise. But for the first time, the Gen Zs are asking very important questions. But we unfortunately, as a society and the elder generations, we don't like being challenged. And unfortunately, we don't even know when to accept to be challenged. It's in our education system, it's in our religious spaces, it's in our social gatherings. Like, we do not encourage young ones to question the status quo when they ask very important, pertinent questions about existence, about governance, about religious infrastructure, social infrastructure, cultural infrastructure. These children are actually asking very important questions even when it comes to tribal infrastructure. Like, our tribal infrastructure has been shaken to the core, and I love it. Why do I love it? Because we've been very comfortable in our existence. When I think about, for example, Uhuru Kenyatta as the president of Kenya, he was the first guy to he's probably the only Kikuyu who has been exposed to the reality in other cultures, because he's one of those presidents who really went all out and had friends, genuine friends, in other tribes. With all his weaknesses, the man got to know and transcend the fear of Raila Odinga, transcend the fear of Luos, transcend the fear of Luyas, transcend the fear that has been there for the longest time of the Somalis. That's why we are seeing Somalis and Muslims generally thriving in the country, because the man transcended these limitations. The young generation now, the Gen Zs that are out here on the streets every Tuesday and Thursday, they are asking questions, but then because we've been very comfortable, we are a generation, the older generations are so comfortable in their zone of illusion and delusion that when these kids are asking very pertinent questions, we don't want to even engage. We are scared because they are asking us to engage them at their level, but we want them to engage us at our level, yet they're the ones with the question. We who are supposed to be providing answers want to be the questioners of the questioners. Like that's the most weird reality that we are seeing now. However, let me go back to hapana kucheza na mtu ambaye yuko na neema. As I mentioned, they have the grace of God, they have the grace of the universe and whatever forces of the spiritual realm you believe in. These children, for the first time, we have a generation that has tried out everything that our ancestors did. They have tried out divinations. They have tried out prayer. If you go on this app, any social media app, and you see a bunch of kids talking about like the power of prayer, the current kids who are educating us on TikTok, on social media, about the power of prayer are very young people. And they're not talking about prayer from an abstract point of view. They're talking about it from a very, very practical point of view. They're open-minded enough to learn about their friends. We didn't have that. We were just told, oh, don't associate, don't marry from certain tribes, don't go live in certain areas. We accepted, don't interact with so-and-so from a certain religion. We accepted blindly. We accepted blind patriotism. We accepted blind, to be led by blind people, literally speaking and figuratively speaking. Blind people have been our leaders, and we believed them because of their charisma and their ability to lie to our faces. And we did listen to them, and we believed in everything that they were saying, despite knowing truly that they were lies. And it's still happening up until today. You can see it in the current leaders, the politicians. I don't even like calling them leaders because they are more dealers than leaders. You see that? They have been lying to us for a very long time, and we believed them. Our parents lied to us, we believed them. We can't lie to the current generation because they are more enlightened than we are. These are the children who are learning and exploring astral projection. When did you, as a millennial or a Gen Xer, do astral projection? You don't know. They're tapping into powers that we never even believed we had. We used to hear about it, and anybody who could experience that, we used to call them witches. The women, we vilified women who were smarter. We basically summarized them into some bad people, when indeed they were basically exploring the lengths and the breadths of knowledge. These are the children who are doing manifestation. These are the children who are learning about Ikigai. They're learning about other cultural, spiritual practices. You can't play with these kids. They are learning about what it means to have a purpose in life. Yo, dear millennial, dear Gen Xer, when was the last time you even asked yourself that question? We are in the rat race of making money and surviving. These children are into the life of thriving and living, whereas we are looking at them as lost because we are in survival mode. They're in living mode. They are experiencing this full spectrum of what it means to be a human being. And not just to be a human being, to be a spiritual being having a human experience on this planet. That's why they believe that as a society, we deserve better. Children deserve better. The mothers deserve better. The fathers deserve better. This is why I am so hopeful when it comes to this generation, because they are the generation ambayo iko na neema. We should not be playing with these kids. We should be opening our minds to actually listen to what they're saying, because they have knowledge that we've never even ourselves imagined we could tap into. And unfortunately, we don't realize because we've been blinded by our prejudices and our delusions and illusions over what reality is. Therefore, let me know in the comment section what you know this generation to be capable of as we